So simply put, the mind-body connection is the interplay between the mind and the body. So it's basically the mind interpreting whatever the physical self is experiencing at the moment. And what can happen is that that interpretation from the mind can come out in a physical sense. So for example, pain or dysfunction. Okay, so how does pain and dysfunction relate to the mind-body connection? Well, basically, this is what happens, right? So pain's your body's way or your mind's way of interpreting something that could be threatening to the self. So, for example, a good example is somebody who's going through a lot of stress and it's being prolonged stress. They might find that they get things such as IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. They might get back pain. They might get an immune system that's compromised. That's basically your mind and body telling you that enough is enough. There's too much stress and you need to de-stress. So we hear about the mind, body, and spirit connection, but is there a fourth pillar? As a matter of fact, there is. The fourth pillar, and I'm going to digress about this in the next question, is basically the social aspect of your life. So mind, body, spirit, and the people that you surround yourself with. So you may have a healthy mind, body, and spirit. So at least you think you do, or you perceive that you do. But an example of things that are very unhealthy socially, prime example is family. So for example, like if your family constantly stresses you out, causes a lot of anxiety, it may come out as a particular type of pain or dysfunction, whether it be migraines or headaches, whether it be stomach disorders, so on and so forth. Another example is your workplace. So your workplace at times can be toxic. People have come into the clinic and they mention how there could be one individual that's causing a lot of strife within the workplace, and it's gotten so bad that when the person sees this particular person, they actually feel sick, or they actually feel pain or some sort of dysfunction. So just remember, the social aspect is an important aspect of the four pillars of wellness. So mind, body, spirit, and whoever you're around with throughout the. Can you be physically healthy and still be suffering from pain and dysfunction? Of course you can. That's for me, that's a definite. I've seen a lot of people that look physically healthy, but they might say to me that, you know what, like I've got this back pain or this neck pain or maybe some sort of stomach dysfunction, so on and so forth. Meanwhile, they're not showing much in regards to what I would customarily see. So for example, if they've got pain, there might be a limitation in range of motion. There might be something where the muscles are very, very tight. But I've seen people who seem healthy but still have pain. The other thing too with that is that they may go to the MDs, they might go to their specialists or different therapists. They might go through a bunch of different tests, but yet they still find nothing. For me, that could be an indicator that there is a dysfunction of mind, body, and spirit. So, examples of like common symptoms or things that I may pick up on that can lead me to believe that there's possibly some sort of dysfunction of mind and body and spirit. It could be something where the person comes in and they've gone through different therapists, different doctors, different specialists, and they have found nothing from a Western perspective. But the person, that individual, still feels that there is some sort of dysfunction or pain. It is what they are personally going through. In that instance, it's one of those things where you would treat the person, but you would also look at them as an individual. And basically, that's an important clue to me in regards to whether this person may have some sort of mind, body, spirit. Okay, so there's four things that I believe, there's probably a few more that I've forgotten, four things that I think are keys to maintaining mind-body wellness. So the first one that I always talk to patients about is awareness. So be aware of certain triggers, such as the environment that you're in, the people that you're around, things like that. You need to understand what causes your dysfunction and pain, if there's anything that exacerbates your pain and dysfunction. Once you get an understanding, there tends to be less anxiety in regards to what you're suffering from. When that happens, when there's less anxiety, you break that anxiety pain cycle, because the more anxious you become, the more pain and dysfunction is felt, generally speaking. Number two, life is about balance. Go and enjoy life, and don't beat yourself up if you make a mistake, right? The number three thing that I tell people also is that resistance is futile. And what I mean by that is basically sometimes people try to force a particular issue or believe that things should change a certain way, and they're very hard about those kind of things with their thoughts. Sometimes you just have to let go and believe that things will turn out the way that they should turn out. So it helps to have that acceptance. Number four, understanding that all things are temporal, which basically means that in this universe that we live in, we have a multitude of things that are happening all at once. Nothing is ever static. In the universe, it's always dynamic. Things are always changing. My belief is that you need to understand that your issues that you might be facing right now are temporal. In other words, they're temporary. They won't last forever. And certainly, I think that's very helpful in the I do believe that believing in a higher power can help people in areas where they might be suffering and there is potentially little hope. I think believing that there's something else above themselves can help them along the way in regards to going through certain situations that might be very, very difficult. I think it allows for hope and to build faith.